Google Colab is a great cloud platform for programming Python, and it's an even better platform for learning Python. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get started with Python on Colab in minutes. Then I'm going to run through some examples and just show you what we can do. It's a very powerful, but also very friendly way to delve into Python. If this is the beginning of your journey into Python, then Google Colab is a great platform. It lowers barriers so you can concentrate on learning the language. But before I get into that, let's talk briefly about why Python is a great language. Python is a very popular language. Some recent data compiled on LinkedIn looking at job postings for various programming jobs shows that in the US, Python is number 1, and in Europe, it's number 2 and rising. So if you decide you want to dedicate yourself to Python, there are a lot of avenues open to you to make a career of it, if that's what you want to do. One of the reasons why Python is so popular, though, it's easy. The syntax is non-intimidating compared to other language, and it makes it just for a smoother experience. It's also very flexible. There are hardly any types of applications you won't find in Python, and there are hardly any places you won't find Python. It's on desktop computers, it's on servers, you can find it running on powerful cloud computing services like Google Colab, and you can find it in some of the most restrictive places computationally, such as embedded on microcontrollers. But Python, it's also very powerful. There's a lot of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning. So, in my opinion, Python is the language to learn if you are getting started, and Google Colab is probably the environment to make all of this happen quickly. Python has come a long way since it started development in the late 1980s. Today, cloud notebook environments like Google Colab allow you to be up and running in literally a minute. But why talk about it? If you have a Google account, for example, you have a Gmail address, then you're primed and ready to let me show you how you can get set up in Google Colab programming in Python and running code on your machine. Well, technically on a machine in the cloud on a data center at Google, but anyways, in under a minute. So here we are at colab.research.google.com. And you can see the Python notebook page, but we can't do a whole lot until we sign in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And I'm going to start with my Gmail username. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my Gmail password. And here we go. We have hit the welcome page. You can see that there are some options for me to either open up some sample pages, or I can start with a new notebook down here. But this is it. This is all we need to do. We are ready to code. All right, so getting set up is nice, but I think we really want to see how this thing runs. So I'm going to go ahead and start up by clicking new notebook, and that's going to open a new instance for us. And I'm going to go ahead and change the title here and give it something a little more descriptive. So I'm going to say my examples, and I'm going to put together some Python examples just so you can see what the environment looks like if you haven't used it before. And so the first thing you'll notice right here is this is these code blocks are a little different than what you're probably used to with the command line, but you could kind of put any Python code here. So I'm just going to throw an expression in here, and let's go ahead and click on this to evaluate. And you're going to kind of notice the first time over here, we got some action going on, needs to initialize, and that can take a little while, but still only a few seconds. So that's not too bad. And we see a result here, which is what we would expect. Okay, let me throw out another code block and let's do something else here. Let's do a good old hello world example and see what we get here. So we print that out and boom, we've got our hello world. So that's pretty nice. Let's do something a little more involved. I can add a variable here. So say my name is Joe, and let's just use an F string to print my name. So hello, and we'll say my name. Let's go ahead and evaluate this. And you see hello, Joe. And if we go to another one, I think what's kind of neat is that on the side here, you can see that there's this variable inspector. And so we can see that the variable my name is there. And if we hover over it, we can see what the current value is. It's set to Joe. So that value is still in memory. So if I were to try to use it, for example, let's run the length function on my name. Even though we're in a separate code block, I can still click play, and I get to see the number updated here. So it's kind of neat because then we can go back to the blocks. Let's say I'm going to change it from Joe to Bill and run this one again. And so now it's hello, Bill. We can see that Bill is now the character in memory. It's taken up 4 characters. I can go down here. I can run the length, and boom, that's updated it to 4. So it's kind of nice because you can kind of go back up and down through your code and make updates and change things and see new results. So it's kind of a useful thing to have set up. But let's keep moving on and go on to some new examples. One thing I like about this is that you have access to the whole range of Python libraries and popular installations like PyPy, for example. So here's an art library 5.5, which allows us to, say we want to print something out, and it'll push that out as ASCII art. I'll show you what I mean, right? So here's the command. So I've just gone to PyPy. I'm just clicking copy to the clipboard. And on here, I'm just going to go ahead and paste that. And that would be fine if we were running standard Python. In Google Colab, the process is very similar. All I have to do is put an exclamation point in front, and then I can run it, and it's actually going to download and install this onto the machine instance that I'm running. And it looks like this is done. So let's go ahead and add some code. So I'm just going to copy something from the example code that they give. So it's from the art library. I'm going to import everything, and I'm going to use the command tprint as part of this art library. And I'm just going to say Python is fun. And so that's kind of cool. We get the result here, and you can see it's all kind of the ASCII. So we've been able to use this library, and I can go ahead and change that to say something like Google Colab is great. And there, and we get that result. And you can see that, this is a very, very flexible environment. Makes it very easy to learn on because you can just type something out and then you get your result. So I'm going to be running a whole series of tutorials on basic Python concepts in programming and coding, as well as some series on web scraping, where we'll do some data analytics and scrape some information there from various sites. And I'll show some techniques off on how to scrape the data. So a lot of good stuff coming up. So if you like what you see, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I'll be posting some more stuff. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in learning Python or Google Colab, then like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be producing a full series of tutorials on the basics of Python. I think we're going to do some deeper dives into Google Colab, perhaps some web scraping projects. Go ahead and leave some comments. Let me know what you guys are interested in learning, and we'll get to it.